Mandated reporter. What is my responsibility? This workshop will explore how to identify and report suspected abuse and neglect. After this workshop, you will be able to identify signs of child abuse and neglect, report suspected child abuse and neglect. Congratulations! You're a mandated reporter. What does that mean? You are a West Virginia University Extension 4-H volunteer. You are required by law to report suspected abuse or neglect to Child Protective Services within 48 hours of becoming aware of it. In cases of severe physical abuse or sexual abuse, you must also report to the local authorities and the West Virginia State Police. Why me? You are required by law to report suspected abuse or neglect. You are in a unique position as a 4-H leader or camp counselor to have a positive connection with youth that they may not get anywhere else. Kids will talk to you because you will listen, and you may be the only adult who does listen. West Virginia state law protects mandated reporters. There are no legal consequences for reporting in good faith. You cannot be sued for making a report in good faith. What am I responsible for? Listening calmly to the person making the disclosure to you. Reporting your concerns to your extension agent. Making a report to Child Protective Services based on your suspicions or a disclosure that was made to you. Keeping all information related to the child and the report confidential. You are not responsible for launching an investigation to find out more about the situation. You do not have to have all the facts before reporting. Facts about child maltreatment. The total lifetime cost of child maltreatment is $124 billion each year. 1 out of 10 children will be sexually abused before they reach 18. 90% of child sexual abuse victims know their predators in some way. In the nation in 2009, 3.3 million CPS referrals of child maltreatment, 702,000 children victims. 78% of all substantiated maltreatment was neglect. Over 80% of predators are parents. More than 80% of deaths are children under 4 years old. In West Virginia, 34,051 CPS referrals, 5,473 sustained cases, 4,978 children victims, 6 children died. In 2011, there was 33,816 CPS referrals, 5,368 sustained cases, 4,133 child victims. 16 children died. 78% of deaths occurred in cases of child abuse has long-lasting effects. Alcoholism, drug abuse, smoking, liver disease, heart disease, school dropout, domestic violence, depression, suicide. Potential warning signs and indicators. Physical abuse. When a parent or caregiver physically hurts a child on purpose. What you might see. Questionable bruising and welts. Bruises at different points of healing. Weird shaped bruises like belt buckle, handprint, electric cord. Burns. Cigar or cigarette burn. Immersion burn. Pattern burn from stovetop, iron, car lighter. What you might notice. Person does not like to be touched. Afraid of adults. Extreme changes in behavior. Afraid of parents. Afraid to go home. Does not want to undress or change in front of people. Self-destructive. What the parents might be like. Uses harsh punishments, has weird explanations for child's injuries, thinks the child is stupid or bad, misuses drugs and or alcohol. Potential warning signs and indicators. Neglect. The failure to provide for the child's physical survival needs until there is harm to the child's health or safety. What you might see. Hungry all the time, dressed wrong for the time of year, left alone for long periods of time, lice or scabies that never go away, very poor hygiene. What you might notice. Begging, stealing or hoarding food, tired all the time, absent from school a lot, doesn't have hardly any friends, self-destructive. What the parents might be like. Misuses drugs and or alcohol, home is full of chaos, seems not to care about child, seems hopeless about life, leaves the kids alone a lot with no supervision. Potential warning signs and indicators. Sexual abuse, sexual assault, sexual abuse, and sexual exploration. What you might see. You will probably not see physical signs of sexual abuse. Something to remember, 1 out of every 10 children is sexually abused by age 18. What you might notice. Doesn't want to undress or change in front of people, depressed a lot, tries not to be noticed, hostile or aggressive, knows a lot about sex for his or her age, unexplained money or gifts, very secretive, hopelessness, self-destructive, suicide attempts. What the parent might be like. Extremely protective or jealous of child, very controlling of child, misuses alcohol and or drugs. The other parent who is not abusing the child is always is away from home a lot, is overly friendly or flirtatious with children's friends. Potential warning signs and indicators. Emotional abuse. Might include screaming, fighting, rejecting, ridiculing, threatening, blaming, or ignoring the child. There is usually constant conflict in the family. What you might see. Speech disorders, is very behind in physical development. You might also witness the parent screaming at, blaming, belittling, or threatening the child. What you might notice. Antisocial, destructive, behavior extremes such as passive or undemanding to aggressive and full of rage. Worries about the children obsessively, emotionally needy, self-destructive, suicide attempts. What the parents might be like. Will not accept services the school provides to help child, keeps child out of school for no good reason, blames the child, ignores the child, does not show love or affection, seems like he or she does not care about the child's problems, expects a lot more of the child than he or she is capable of doing. Who must report? Any medical, dental, or mental health professional, any person over the age of 18 who receives a disclosure from a credible witness or observes any sexual abuse or sexual assault of a child, school teacher, or other school personnel, social worker, emergency medical service personnel, member of clergy, peace officer or law enforcement official, humane officer, circuit court judge, family court judge, employee of the Division of Juvenile Services or magistrate, youth camp administrators or counselor, employee, coach, or volunteer of an entity that provides organized activities for children, child care or foster care workers, commercial film or photographic print processor who has reasonable cause to suspect the child is neglected or abused, or observes the child being subjected to conditions that are likely to result in abuse or neglect. What should you do when someone discloses? Find a private place to talk with the person where others can observe but not hear. Reassure the person making the disclosure. Say, "I believe you. I am glad you told me. It is not your fault this happened." Affirm the maltreatment is wrong. Listen openly and calmly with minimum interruptions. Try to keep your own emotions and nonverbal cues neutral. Write down the facts and words as the person has stated them. Use the child's own vocabulary. Do not promise not to tell. Know your limits. This is not a situation you can handle by yourself. However, do not discuss what the child told you with anyone who is not directly involved in helping the child. Tell the truth. Don't make promises you can't keep, particularly related to secrecy, court involvement, placement, and social worker decisions. Be specific. Let the child know exactly what is going to happen. Tell the child that you must report the abuse or neglect to Child Protective Services. Tell the child that a social worker who helps families with these kind of problems may be coming to talk with the child. Assess the child's immediate safety. Is the child in immediate physical danger? Is it a crisis? Are there others in the home who can protect the child? Be supportive. Remember why the child came to you. The child needs your help, support, and guidance. Reassure the child that telling about the abuse or neglect was the right thing to do. It is the only way to make it stop. Report the disclosure within 48 hours to Child Protective Services. How do you make a report? You should contact CPS whenever you reasonably suspect a child has been abused or neglected or is subject to conditions where abuse or neglect is likely to occur. It is best if you and the extension agent make the report together so the CPS gets the most information possible. Your extension agent will then notify others at West Virginia University in compliance with the Children on Campus policy. CPS will accept your report and determine, is the child safe or does the child need protected? Remember, it is not your job to investigate. What happens during the report? Client. Family demographics include name, age, gender, race, and ethnicity for members of the household and their relationship to each other. The family's address and phone number, the adult's place of employment, and the child's school or child care when applicable. Alleged child abuse or neglect, specific caregiver behavior that indicates possible child abuse and neglect, events and circumstances associated with or accompanying the child abuse or neglect. Effects of child abuse or neglect presents danger and or impending danger, caregiver behavior on child, child's condition resulting from the child abuse or neglect, and or family condition. Available information about the child including general condition and functioning, location, state of mind, emotion, specific fear, proximity of threat, access to those who can help and report and protect. Available information about the caregivers include general functioning, general parenting, general state of mind, emotion, current location, community relations, employment, use of substances, mental health functioning, attitude towards perceptions of children, receives relevant history including CPS history, likely response to CPS. Available information about the family including domestic violence including power, control, entitlement, living arrangements, household composition, household activity including people in and out, condition of residency. Description of any possible likely emergency circumstances, identification of protective adult who are or may be available, the reporter's name, relationship to the family, motivation and source of information, if possible, why the reporter is reporting now, and any actions that the reporter suggests should occur. Information concerning the name and contact information for biological parents who are not subject of the report. The names and contact information of other people with information regarding the child or family. Whom to call. West Virginia Child Abuse and Neglect Hotline, 1-800-352-6513, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In case of serious physical abuse or sexual abuse, also contact the state police and local law enforcement.